I need to ask you a real serious question. What if there was a proven, predictable path to network marketing success that would lead you to a full-time income? Would you follow it? A system that has been proven for over 35 years and created more documented five, six, and seven-figure earners than any system in the history of network marketing. The best part is the system can be implemented by average people with above average desire. And it's a real important question. Would you follow the system? Please listen again real closely and answer honestly. What if there was a proven, predictable path to network marketing success that would lead you to a full-time income? A system that has been proven for 35 years and created more documented five, six, and seven-figure earners than any system in the history of network marketing. And the best part is it can be implemented by any average person with above average desire. Would you follow it? Would you follow it? If your answer to that question is not absolutely, Dale, I would follow that. That's what I'm looking for. I'm wanting out of my dead-end job. I'm wanting to have the freedom and the lifestyle and the passive income that I know others have experienced in network marketing. Of course, I would follow it. I'm all ears. Share the system. Then I would ask you, if you say, well, no, Dale, I don't think I would follow it, then I would ask you, why are you wasting your time listening to this podcast? What do you really want to accomplish in your business? Because see, what most people do is they enter the profession in the beginning with a lot of hopes, desires, and dreams, and over time they diminish. And before they know it, they're ordering their auto ship. They're spending a lot of time at conferences and on webinars and on Zoom meetings, but they're not progressing. Their business is not moving forward. They enter what I call the network marketing social club. How long have you been involved in network marketing? Have you achieved your dreams? And I'm sure many of you have. But the most important question really is, how many people have you helped create a full-time income? That's the real question. In this session, you're going to hear from six, seven, eight, I'm not sure, but several of our team members, people that I call foxhole friends. And if you listen to this podcast very much at all, you know I talk about foxhole friends. I mean, they have my back, I have theirs, and more importantly, and this is the most important part, is they have each other's. Not envy and jealousy among any of these people, because they understand and they've lived it and they get the fact that TEAM, together, everyone achieves more. They really get it and they live that. So they not only just have my back and I have theirs, they have each other's. They've all plugged into the franchise type building systems I was speaking about earlier. I hope you enjoyed this session. I know that you will. Your master of ceremonies is Mr. Alan Knight from California. Listen to this, and I will be back with you later on in this session.
Basically, what Dale asked us to do is kind of talk about where we come from, what had us interested in this, and then what did it look like to get from where we were to where we are now, which is just maybe a little bit further down the road than you might be, and in some areas you might be further down the road than us. But for some reason, he picked these particular people because they're a good cross section of the team, and I think they're people who have had some success working together. So I'm going to start out and just give you a little bit of my background. And I'm going to do it in a short period of time because people will yell me. I have a direct line to the crew right here, and they'll start yelling at me on my phone if I go too long. So when I found Dale and the Calvert Marketing Group, I was I had been in this industry for probably 20 years, or probably more, actually. I like to stop counting at some point. But I joined my first network marketing business when I was 18 years old. I invited myself to the event, which I invited myself to every event that I ever joined. I was never on anybody's prospecting list ever. It's like, and it's like, and if you had known me back then, you would have gone, yeah, I could see that. He probably wouldn't have been on mine either. And that was just where I was. That's where I came. I had a lot of bad thinking. I had a lot of self-destructive thought processes when I first was introduced to this industry, and then and those things did get better over time. You put in positive stuff, and positive stuff starts to happen. But what I couldn't ever do was actually get the thing to work. And no matter what company it was, I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't make it work for me. I could sponsor people, at times, and I did, and I sponsored, a good number of people, but I didn't know what to do with them when I got them. And usually my self-image also, I would rise to the level of at the back. Anyway, so that was where I was when I got started. I was looking for answers when I found Dale. I was looking everywhere. I had lost faith in the leadership of the company I was with, because I saw no one winning. There was no normal people. There were these fancy, flashy, like ultra personality people that already, like, that they were the high school queen and king and queen, or whatever that is, homecoming queen. Those kind of people, maybe they were winning. I was the guy at the smoking tree. Okay. I was never one of those people. It's like, yeah. I gravitated the group with the lowest entrance exam, which, anyway, leave that as it may. And so I started listening, to a lot of different people, and I found some other people before Dale, but it was the same thing. It was the attraction marketing, post to, I don't even know how it all went, but it was like, post and then message and say hi to people on messages, and, all of this stuff. And then somehow everything's going to be great. And, but I found Dale's podcast, and I was looking for normal people who were winning. That was what I was looking for. Somebody who I could relate to. And from the first podcast, they promised he was going to tell stories or have people speak. And I just, it was just a breath of fresh air. And it's like, and I listened to everyone. If you aren't listening to the podcast, I highly recommend it. Somebody else will put in what it's called and all of that as we go forward. But that's one way to get your education. When we talk about work harder on yourself than you do on your business, Dale's podcast is a great place to get that information. Just he doesn't change. I mean, what works. So even if he's talking about a different company or something like that, the principles are going to be the same. It's amazing how consistent he is about how he thinks about what we do, because it works. So anyway, I got started, and I had to develop trust, because I didn't trust anybody at all at that point, because I was around a lot of really nice people and a lot of really nice companies who had no clue how to help me. And so I was jaded, and I didn't trust anybody. And Dale, not intent, just by putting out factual, like, stuff that he said what I thought. and he said it in a way that I could grasp it. And by him doing that, I started to develop trust in him. That, and when I asked him a question, he would give me a straight answer every time. That was like amazing, because I was so used to the network marketing, circular. Well, don't ask anybody what they make, or don't ask anybody if they're actually winning, because they're not. And so there's a rule: no negative to anybody. And I'm like, well, I have some negative I want to ask about. It's like, who am I supposed to ask that? Because there wasn't anybody, because really nobody had solutions. So when Dale started showing, when I started listening to him, and when I started plugging into the system that he had set up, that's when I started learning how to do this as a profession, as a business, not as a, make your list of people you already know, right? Which we did that too. But it's like, that wasn't the last thing we did. That was just the beginning. And then I started doing massive action. I think that in my first week or so, somebody said, I don't even know if they said it or not, but I got a wild hair in my mind that I should do 100 outreaches a day. And I did. And then I would post it in whatever the name of our group was at the time. In the CMG group, I would post it. And it turned out that other people started posting it as well. Just like, so we know we're actually doing the work that we're recommending. We're not just good talkers, and we're not just good pumper-uppers, but we're actually doing the work. And then I got to see, and then I associated with you guys, and I got to see that you were all going down the same miserable road that I was going down. And that was so refreshing, because people were saying no to you all the time, just like they were saying no to me all the time. It's like, I'm like, oh, wow. It's like, I'm not weird. This is called building a business. This is called building any kind of a business. It's like, most people are not going to want what you have. Guess what? That's called normal. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that because I never had been around anybody who was actually putting in the action, like on a consistent basis. And when I did, huge growth happened. So learned knowledge, like plugging in to get my brain right, plugging into that CMG back office to get my brain right, and then applied knowledge by doing the action, doing massive action. We don't even know, you don't know what your numbers are that you're working with until you do enough action. And your numbers will improve. What does Dale say? We can make up in numbers what we lack in skill. And then our skill gets better, and then we just get even more results as over time. So that's where I came from to where today I am fearless in the face of any kind of, and it's not just about this business, in the face of talking to anybody about anything. I don't care who you are. I've talked to people who made $7 million a year in this industry, who are some of the worst people I've interacted with. And I've talked to some amazing people also that make a lot of money. But I've lost any fear. And I've seen people who supposedly should know better be completely insane. And I realized, wow, like making a certain amount of money does not determine whether you're a success or not. This camel is pulling me off stage. So that's all I had. That's a little window. Hopefully that's helpful. We are going to have questions and answers after this. I'm going to introduce like one of the people I respect most. One of the people I respect most on this team. She loves this team. She has a heart for all of us. She's about doing things right, and there's a right way to do things. But she's an amazing lady. Appreciate her. Let's listen to Shelly Giddings. Oh, and I have to unmute you, Shelly. Okay, I can figure this out. Go to present. Go to Shelly. Oh, I can just go by your thing. Here we go. Let's do it like that. Does that work? There you go.
Work. Thank you. Ellen, thank you. That was a very nice introduction. I appreciate that. I'm not going to go into a lot of my backstory because it's on a podcast somewhere and you guys can go listen to it. The one thing I did want to say, well, more than one thing, but Alan triggered something about events. Lives are changed at events. Go to the event. How do I know this? Well, my life was changed at an event that Dale Calvert was at. I answered a newspaper ad 25 years ago, and that's when I met Dale. And I'm not going to go through the whole story, but I came to the realization recently that occurrence was in preparation for today. Meeting Dale then, 25 years ago, I believe was meant to be for what's happening now. And I believe that with everything in my heart. And it's going to make me a little bit emotional, so I'm going to move on. But events change lives. Go to the events. Dale, again, he said, tell them that we were you, right? And we were you. How did we develop the skills and the mindsets to be where we are? Well, you can't be successful at this if you don't have the proper skill sets and the proper mindsets. So how did I do it? Well, as far as mindsets are concerned, I read the books, a lot of podcasts, surrounding myself with the right people, this team, the right people, and working on myself harder than I worked on my business. That's a true statement. And that's what I did to get my mindset right. There's a saying that everybody's heard before, Zig Ziglar, you can have anything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. I start every day with the phrase or the question, who do I get to help today? And I noticed that when I started that, everything changed. When I started looking at who I'm going to help, things started taking off for me. Ellen, what?
Told the dog to go to bed.
Okay. I think that that's a very, very important mindset because it's truth, right? Truth is truth. We talk about truth all the time. Truth is truth. And that is a truth. You can have anything you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And that is what I'm here to do. Helping other people. Skills. How do you get the skill sets? Well, you got to do the work, right? You have to do the training. You go through the training and you then have to do the actions. Alan mentioned doing 100 outreaches a day. If we're talking about outreaches and you don't know what we're talking about, go to your upline. Because at this point, you should know what an outreach is. But doing those and practicing those and even coming back to the Facebook group with questions. Hey, this is the answer I got. What do I do now? You don't have to do this alone. That's another thing. We are not alone. We are a team who appreciate each other and help each other and want to see everybody be successful. Ask the questions. And I have to say that was kind of a mind tweak for me as well, because I consider myself to be an intelligent human being. I probably have a little bit of pride and I feel like I should know all of the answers to everything. It was when I started realizing that I don't have all of the answers and that I can ask the questions. Nobody tells me that it's a dumb question and I can get my questions answered. So feel comfortable in asking the questions. But again, it's practice, right? If you want to be a dancer, what do? You go to dance classes and you practice and you dance and you dance. If you want to play golf, what do? You go out there and you hit the balls and you practice. It's the exact same thing here. We practice. And the more you practice, the better you're going to get. And everything is laid out, right? We've got the team training. It's all there. Everything is laid out for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Follow the system and ask the questions and do it more than once a day. Right? I remember at first, when we first started doing outreach, and I maybe do 10 a day and think, oh, nobody's responding. Well, no, because I only did 10. The last few weeks, I've done over 1,200 a week. It could be a little bit excessive, but I'm getting responses, right? So do the activities. Dale always says, what does he say? It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. So do the activities. I on Sundays, I look at my schedule and it's different every week based on, my daughter's schedule and things. So I look at what is happening and I know when I'm going to sit down and do my activities. And it does change a little bit every week, but I still do them. I know how many outreaches I'm going to do every day. I plan it out. And if something comes along and happens, well, I'll stay up till 1:00 in the morning to do outreaches to make sure I get them done. It's just getting, like we hear all the time, getting into a rhythm, getting into a routine, a consistent routine. You could do 250 outreaches in a week and get no responses, but you know what? In 2 weeks, you could get 50 responses. So if you don't get any, don't give up. Just keep going. I think that's the key, is being consistent. Just that consistent routine. It's simple. It really is simple. Being successful here is simple, but that's not to say easy. I was talking to, it might have been one of my grandkids recently, and telling them the difference between simple and easy. Easy is something that you achieve without effort. Simple means something that is easily understood. Right? And this is simple, but you have to do it. If you don't do the activities, you're not going to get anywhere. Again, I'm going to end with, who do I get to help today? And sometimes that's going to be yourself, right? Sometimes all you're going to be able to do in a day is maybe read 2 chapters of a book or listen to a podcast. And that's going to be okay. That's okay too. Don't beat yourself up, but move on and do the activity. Who can I help today?
Awesome, Shelley. Great job.
Thanks.
And then Mr. Cantu, hang on a second. Oh, I just have to click the little thing. It's very easy. This technology is very easy, he says every day in the mirror. So Philip, as if you don't know already, it's like, I'm not sure if there was a critical piece. He's a critical piece to the Calvert marketing group working. Not that we all aren't in our own way, but it's like his level of patience is a whole nother level of patience, because I know if he only had to deal with me, his patience is amazing. And having like all of you that he helps is incredible. And then Dale is an amazing man, but probably at times a little bit challenging to work with also. So it's like having all that and him doing all that for us. He's the tech advisor to the team. And I've seen him grow so much just as a person. I think we were at the same, both of us were at the same first event. And I don't think either one of us are the same person we were at the time, today. And so I'm excited to hear you share, Philip.
Thanks, Alan. Fabulous introductions. You got those down. Real quick, guys. So yeah, again, I'm Philip Cantu. You probably know me by now. I'm from Arizona, currently residing in Guatemala. One thing, if you haven't noticed already about our Zooms, is that we focus a lot on mindset. And I remember the first time I jumped on a CMG team Zoom, I was just flabbergasted on how different everyone is, right? There weren't all boss babes or something that I was coming from, and I just love that what Dale talks about, how Shelley mentioned, and even Alan mentioned, the wisdom of the ages, it reaches the right person, right? So real quick with network marketing, I came back, I was living in Asia, I came back in 2020 with the mindset, due to the pandemic, with the mindset, I'm going to be focused on network marketing because I've always loved the industry. Foolishly enough, I joined the very first attraction marketing company I could find, and because I loved the product, and I still do, right? But I did a year of being delusional, of doing TikToks and daily Instagram posts and stories, made no money. I got a couple sales that barely helped pay me back for my own purchases, right? But during that time, I was luckily not delusional enough to realize I need a real mentor. And we mentioned it already, guys, Dale's podcast. It's called the MLM Success Podcast. Whether it's on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, listen to it. That should be, if not daily, weekly, listen for you, Dale's podcast. I knew what this guy was talking about, and I knew I had to be with him. So long story short, 2021, I joined Dale, and we were with a different company at that time. My very second month of listening and following Dale's system, right, our franchise-like system, I made more money than I ever did in network marketing in 2 months, right, versus a whole year following that culture, right? So I'm like, okay, this is going to work, right? So again, we talk about mindset and we talk about taking action. And there's another saying we say is, unless you're making $10,000 a month, don't have an original thought. We know what we're doing. Or I should say, Dale knows what he's doing. And we're here as proof of that, right? That's the only reason we're talking, is because we were able to get out of our own way enough to make some money, and it's pretty awesome, right? It's pretty awesome. So I like what Shelley mentioned about practicing, right? If you think about anything, you want to start a Shopify store, like, oh, Shopify and drop shipping sounds cool. Great. You're not just going to pay $50 a month on Shopify fees and $100 a month on Google Ads without learning something, right? You're going to learn. So as we mentioned, cmgcollectdirectteam.com is where you learn, and then practice it every day as much as you can, doing the outreaches and re-listening to the podcast. You got to listen to them again. I remember when I first started, I would go out for my runs when I was more fit than I am now, but I would listen to Dale while running. And it really helped just keep my mind in the game. And because we're here, once a week, you're going to need more fire, more coal in your fireplace, whatever, to keep you motivated and going. And that's what the podcast, our team trainings, and all the other Wisdom of the Ages trainings we have back there. So the title of this slide was something like, how did we move there? It's mindset with action, right? Because if you just focus on mindset, like Dale says, knowledge without action leads to delusion. And I think we've probably all been there, or we know people who are very knowledgeable, but they're not winning, right? Because they're not taking action. So the podcasts, the books, or we used to have a book club. We might start it up again, but if we ask us what books to read, we'll tell you what books to read, and staying plugged in. Every single ninja is always on every single Zoom, or at least, making up for it, right? We're always here. And I totally agree with Shelley, what she said. It's easy, but not simple. The more I'm in this entrepreneurship mindset and growth, the more I learn that, wow, this isn't easy. It's not easy. It's hard to make $1 million, but it's simple. It is very simple. We have the steps to move there, but it's hard. You got to get past yourself and not listen to the other people. And like when Alan said he's fearless, I remember when someone would say no, And I was like, it really hurt me. But now I'm like, sorry, man, you're going to miss out. Next, and just move on. So that's it, guys. Focus on mindset, take the action, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Philip. Good job. Okay, next we're going to have a gentleman who I respect so much, and who I go to whenever I get anxious. He's always like got the calm wisdom voice that I listen to, that puts things in perspective and moves me down the road. And even above that, his work ethic is next to none on the team. If he says he's going to do something, he does it every time. You never have to worry about if it's going to get done. It happens every time. And he has the results to prove it. I mean, his business is flourishing because of it. So anyway, I want to hear from Mr. Buchanan.
Well, thank you, Alan. Thank you, team. Great job, Alan and Shelley and Philip. And throughout this, you're going to hear a common thread, and that is mindset and taking action. You can't skirt it. You can't get around it. It's got to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's only on you, right? But I traveled the same road like most people. I read the books, I listened to the tapes, went to the conferences like what we got coming up, and coming back from those, you put some of those things into action, but do you do it on a consistent basis? How long can you do it, right? We can stay excited. Some people can stay excited for 30 days, 30 minutes, 6 months. But how long can you stay excited? Can you stay excited for 18 months? Because generally that's what it's going to take. When you start listening to the pundits and they say, what does Dale say? Give me 18 months or give me 12 months. Give me 12 months. And you won't be in the same place that you were when you began. And that happens because we listen to a mentor that has done it over and over, but more importantly, he knows how to teach. And when you can follow somebody that knows how to teach it, and you decide that this is something that you're going to pursue, all the excuses go out the window. Do we stub our toe? Dale talks about going back to the whirlpool, right? If you don't know what that is, look it up on one of the previous podcasts or one of the webinars. But we all at some point find ourselves drawn back into that whirlpool. But you can't stay there very long. And the only way you get out of that whirlpool is to have the mindset and the strength to say, I'm not staying there. I'm not staying there. I've got bigger goals that I have for my family, for this team, and really the industry, right? When I met Dale, like most, had been in the industry for a while. But when I met Dale, I listened to him. Dale spoke from the heart, and he didn't sugarcoat it. And that's what I liked, right? I don't like all the fluff. Tell me straight, right? But also point me in the direction and say, here it is. It's your choice. You decide if you want to follow and go down this path. if you go down this path, I'm going to be here with you. And we're going to have a team of leaders and team members going down this same path. You can get this thing done. When I started listening to Dale, what freed me in my mind was when I heard Dale say, consistent effort doesn't always bring results, but it will always bring success. And that really freed me in my mind that if you do the activity, don't worry about the results. Everything else will take care of itself. If you have the proper mindset, if you take action, right? If you take action, and I really don't like using that word if, because in my mind, that means instant failure. Do what needs to be done on a consistent daily basis. You will absolutely make sure that you will reach whatever goal and situation it is that you have. But I want to challenge everybody. Hear me when I say this. There's more for you. There's more for you here. There's more for you, period. But a lot of times it's in a particular place. And you may have to move from where you are now to get to that place. And it might be mental, but you got to move on. And I challenge you, each and every one of you, bet on yourself. When you bet on yourself, you're going to dream bigger. And that's where we need to be right now. All of us need to dream bigger because the opportunity that we have ahead of us and in front of us, we haven't seen this. I haven't. Let me put it that way. I haven't. Dream bigger, because if you don't, you'll be squashed like a root.
All right, David. Good job, man. Dream bigger or be squashed like a bug. Oh, okay. So moving on, where our next speaker is going to be my road dog. Me and Kurt, we're teammates, and we're both in California. We pass each other occasionally from one end to the other. But man, he doesn't talk a lot. Like it takes some work to get him to talk. Let's put it that way. But he's got a lot of wisdom, and man, he works. He puts his head down and he works, and he gets the results to show for it. And so I can't wait to hear from him. So let's hear from Kurt Summer.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it. Tough act to follow there, Dave. I hope I don't repeat anybody else, but I think for me, I had MLM phobia when I first got started. I didn't see it as a legitimate business model because it didn't require a degree or any certification. So how could it be legitimate? And my first company kind of validated that feeling to some extent. My wife pushed me into this about 20 years ago, and the first company was pretty much an epic failure. They had no leadership, less training if that's possible, and the products were substandard. That probably lasted about 6 months, maybe. So it's kind of amazing to me that I'm still in the industry to begin with, but I bounced around to several other companies along the way. I've been with about 6 altogether. And then, like Alan said, we met her about 2016. And the company we were with had good, they were actually good products. We're still using some of them, in fact. But the leadership was basically 3%ers who didn't understand duplication. And so they couldn't understand why your team wasn't growing. But I was looking for something different. I'm glad that Alan found Dale Calvert, because I didn't know where to look. I didn't know what to look for. But I was extremely grateful that Alan found Dale, because Dale had the most, his training program is the best you're going to find anywhere. There's hands down, no question about it. There's nothing else like his training program or this team anywhere else in the industry. I haven't been with every company, but I've been with enough to know that you're not going to find anything like this anywhere else in the industry. There's just no question about it. So yeah, no more walking up to strangers in bookstores and trying to pitch them, or dragging people to meetings and coercing them to come to hear your pitch in a meeting. It's none of that anymore. So that was a relief. But you did have to develop mindsets, and I didn't have a lot of belief, because most of the companies all the companies pretty much I'd been with were failures, non-starters. So coming to Team C&G was a breath of fresh air. It was definitely an eye opener. One of the first things I did, I still remember Dale saying, was that, why would you care what someone else thinks of you if you're never going to meet him? And that kind of struck a chord with me, because we hear people saying, well, you're sending out spammy messages. Well, why would I care what you think? So Dale's training program, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me, for sure. It's definitely elevated my skill set. It's helped me develop my mindset much better too. Can't say enough about this team, the camaraderie and the esprit de corps that you find here. You can't get that anyplace else. So I don't know what else to say, except that if this is your first company, you can count your lucky stars, because you didn't have to go through the grief and aggravation that a lot of us had to go through with being with other companies. But if you've been with several other companies, unless it's something that Jim Rohn has said or Dale has said, you can pretty much throw it out. Because if you're bringing all that baggage with you, it's just going to hold you back. And so you need to have an open mind, listen to what Dale said, to what Dale teaches, and just believe that, like he says, you give him a year, he will change your life. No question about it. Back to you, Ron.
All right, fantastic, Kurt. The next person we're going to have speak is Mike Calvert. Mike has been also one of those critical pieces to this team. He has had success in other companies. He has had success in a lot of different actually areas of life, with some different things that he's done. And it's been cool to watch him come into this system and realize what it is and the value that it is, and really the difference maker that it is for normal 27% people with above average desire, but normal people. And I love what he brings to the team. And so let's hear from Mike. And then let me unmute him so that he can speak. There you go.
Thank you, Alan. And guys, hosting a Zoom call is difficult. And you guys, Alan, everybody has done such a great job at telling their story and how they've progressed throughout this. And it's not as easy. Dale makes it look easy. And he's a professional. But, Dale always says that we're in the leadership development business. And Dale stepping aside and allowing some of us to participate in these Zoom calls. This is going to be you guys someday, too. And that's the whole point, is that we're going to develop and grow sequentially. And the goal is for every one of us to ultimately be doing what we're good at and what we've honed our skills at getting good at. So I just can't believe how awesome you guys have been so far that have talked on the Zoom call. You guys have to understand that I'm a fraud. I am nothing more than a guy that's taken lessons from people like Alan and Shelley and Philip and Kurt and Dave and Tom and Cam. I've taken, and Dale, of course, and I've taken all these little bits and pieces from them and I regurgitate it. But there's a real thick skull here, and it's called the filter. And it takes a long time for things to go through the filter from your head to your heart. Once information goes from your head to your heart is when you start to see change in yourself. So when I first came on board and was introduced to CMG, I was like, oh my gosh, who are these people? I was the stranger. And I've seen a lot of new faces and a lot of new names every week on these Zoom calls. We're growing. And I was overwhelmed with what the heck is a AWeber? What is direct outreach? What is Groove Pages? What are safe lists? What the heck are safe lists? I was completely confused about what all this stuff was. But one of the things that I understood in what was interesting when I decided to get into this industry was I wanted to educate myself. And I was lucky enough through my past life experience to have already been a student of some of these success books and had been turned on to them by earlier mentors in my life. And when my wife discovered Dale's podcast and sent it to me, I was like, this guy is speaking truth. And you're going to see, I think Kurt said he doesn't want to say anything that everybody else has already said, but I'm going to probably say everything that everybody's already said, because repetition is how we get through the filter from the head to the heart. Repetition. And some people are more thick-skulled than others, and it takes longer for it to go from the head to the heart. So what happened was that I discovered his podcast, and my wife and I listened to every single episode, and we started listening several years after he had started. We went back and listened to every single podcast. I have CDs of Dale's. I have books all around me. I have notebooks of notes. I take notes on Zoom calls. All of these things. And the whole reason why is because I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I need to work on myself. So there's a saying that says things that start right tend to end well. Things that start well tend to end well. And I know the title of this Zoom was We Were You. We are you. Some of us just might be a little bit further down our path, but we are you. So if you guys are sitting here and you're wondering what is all this about, the key is to stay plugged in, but starting off on the right foot is a key. And I always break things down in my mind. I break this down into some key areas: mission, vision, values, strategy, and tactics. The mission is the overall objective. Guys, we all have, if for those of you that are on the Zoom call that are serious, we should have a clear and concise mission. Our mission is twofold: 6 people to diamond and 3,300 customers. That's our mission. 6 people to diamond, 3,300 customers. What's our vision? Our vision is our why. You guys have heard it many times. Until you know why, the how doesn't matter. What's your vision of, once you have 6 diamonds and 3,300 customers, what's your vision? What are you doing this for? Take some time and really sit down and write out those 20 reasons why. Think about it. Spend some time. Put some effort into it. It's worth it. That is your foundation, your cornerstone. Your vision is the why. So make sure that you focus on your why when you start riding that roller coaster of doubts, or when it's work to get up and do the same thing, or you'd rather, you've got life gets in the way. The values, guys, that's the culture of this team. And I think that just by way of you being in this group, and if you get to know the people like Alan and Shelley and Kamala and Tony Shoup and Philip, and I mean, I just go down the list, you're going to see that there's a common theme and a culture of this team. Those values are amazing. It's people who want to help others. We're not trying to sell somebody something just so we can make a commission. We're trying to connect collectors with what they're passionate with. We're trying to help people get off the hamster wheel in MLM and in life. We're trying to help people achieve whatever it is that their goal or their wish is to do. And Dale and Don Calvert are the masters at that. They have a servant's heart. That's the culture and the values that this team brings. Then we break it down into strategies. Strategies, guys, is when I get back into this. Okay, we're implementing direct outreach. We're implementing AWeber websites. These are strategies. How are we going to achieve our goal? $5 off coupons. These are strategies that we're going to implement. Dale and this team are masters at coming up with effective, proven, successful strategies. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Like I think it was Philip said, until you're making 10 grand a month. Plug into the system and follow the path that's being created for us. It's just that the first time we go down this path, it's scary. It's like we're walking down the forest with a blindfold. Dale's already been there, and he's saying, come on, guys. It's okay. Come on. But we are still cautiously, it's new to us. I just cut down 4 trees in my yard, 80-foot tall trees. I'd never done it before. Hours of research on YouTube. I was scared. My friend Brian came and helped me. He'd done it before. He's cheering me on. I was afraid to use the chainsaw. The first 2 trees, every time the tree fell where I needed it to fall, my confidence grew. Now I feel pretty confident that I could probably cut down a tree. Now, if I don't do it for a while, it's a diminishing skill. I'm going to have to refresh and get better at it again. That's the same process that we all go through with this. So when we talk about the strategies, we want to make sure that we just plug in and follow the path that's already been written out. And then I'm going to put something between strategies and tactics. I'm going to put massive, consistent effort. Massive, consistent effort. Now, for a lot of us that have life and excuses sometimes or reasons, we may have to pick at sometimes one or the other, massive or consistent. And I'm going to say pick consistent because time is a great filter as well. Repetition of learning. Consistent effort doesn't always lead to success, or consistent effort doesn't always lead to, you guys know the saying, I'm choking here under pressure, but it does lead to success. So consistency. Get on these Zoom calls, get on Facebook, stay plugged in, listen to the podcast, go on the CMG training site. There is all sorts of incredible things there. Now, and the most important strategy that I can tell you guys, though, we talk about skill sets and mindsets. I like to reverse them, kind of like Philip talked about. Mindsets first, skill sets second. Mindsets, skill sets. Work on yourself more than you work on. You guys notice a theme? We're all saying the same things. Mindset first. Work on yourself more than you do on your business. And we are the hardest thing and we get in our own way oftentimes of success. So we need to make sure that we are kept plugged in, because I can't tell you how many stupid questions I've asked Philip, Shelley, Alan, and they have the heart of the teacher and they answer them and they unblock my roadblocks. So that's a huge part of it. The last thing is tactics, guys. This is when the team works so well. If you look on our Facebook page, people are posting screenshots of direct outreach. What do I say here? How do I say this? How do I handle this every day? How do I handle this situation? How do I reply? How do I respond? How do I do this? Those are tactics. Guys, the strategies and the tactics will change over time. Your mission, your vision, and your value should stay solid. You can update your why. I just got a why here. I got my Cybertruck. It's sitting on my desk. Brian Johnson bought it for me because he knew my why. That's one of my whys. I want a Cybertruck. It sits on my desk. We can update those as life goes on. But the most important thing is that if we develop the proper mindsets and skill sets, and we have our foundation of a mission, a why, and our values, we can adjust with the times and pivot. And we can adjust with the strategies and the tactics. Does this all make sense? If it does, okay, awesome. I'm going to stop talking because I probably went longer than 5 minutes, but stay plugged into the system, guys. And I just hope you guys realize how unbelievably fortunate we are to have these incredible leaders. Dale and Don Calvert, and so many of these people. And you guys, a lot of you new guys are going to be us. You're going to be them. This is a leadership development system, and I can't wait to see you guys rise up and take over. Thank you.
Man, if you don't like that, rewind and, write notes on that. You're missing something. You can hear that a bunch of times and get so much out of it. Thank you, Mike. I don't know what to say about the next lady. You guys, if you haven't gotten a chance to be around her yet, if you're at the event, make sure just hang out wherever she is. Like, I promise you'll be blessed for it. We call her the angel of CMG because I'm pretty sure she is one. Nobody can prove me otherwise. So we're going to hear from Cam because if you want to know what the heart of what we are, it's sitting right there in that green office of hers. Right. So let's hear from Cam. Let me unmute you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Alan. So you've heard all the same things. I need to go down through my notes and cross out a bunch so you don't hear it again. But when he says we were you and how we developed the skills and the mindsets, there again, just like Mike said, it's mindsets. Little quick for some of you that really, I was a basket case. And in more ways than not, I'm still basket case. But when I met Dale, I had a gentleman introduce me to Dale's podcast and to reach out. And we had a conversation over the phone. And he was saying things that he thought was possible for me. Here I go. And I had the mindset that, for one, who is this guy that's trying to tell me that things are possible for someone that messed up her whole life to that point? And he said, you get plugged in, you stay in and give me 1 year of your life, you won't know who you are from a year ago. And I don't. When I look in the mirror, I don't know who's standing there. I'm in awe. And it's all because his programs have programmed me. Can do the same thing for you. And really that's all it is it's changing your mindset and getting, just like everybody else said, is plugged in. You have to understand that with you being on the Zoom and listening to the replay, that you're working with a guy that has made more 5, 6, and 7-figure income earners than anybody in this industry. And when he first told me that 4 years ago, I thought that was great for everybody else, but it wasn't possible for me. But this year I did it. And I did it with the help of the people that you see on the screen. Like, they're more amazing than you can possibly think of. Like, you will not believe it. When Alan just thinks I'm the most wonderful angel because we sang to him for his birthday, which he's not believing that. But anyway, so just get plugged in, stay in. And just like they said, if you have any questions or anything that you've heard tonight that resonates with you and you feel that you're struggling with, reach out to the person that just made your heart pound a little bit more on that aspect of it. We're in the leadership development business with a compensation plan attached. And that's all it is. Thank you, Alan.
Awesome. Yes. In spite of the singing for my birthday, Cal. But anyway, all right. So great job, everybody. Proud of all of you. I hope that you guys got some value out of this. We are going to open it up for questions. I had one more thing before we do. If you haven't listened to the current podcast at what is it? What's the new one called, Philip? Or somebody. Oh, here, let me set it so people can unmute themselves also.
Yeah, if you put your YouTube on notification for Dale, so you'll get notified. Yesterday, it's called New Era. Oh, no, it's called Attraction Marketers Have Killed the Network Marketing Business.
Okay, and it's in the New Era
podcast.
It's the New Era podcast. Okay.
Hey, this is Dale. I'm back with you for a minute. Next, Alan will go into the question and comment section with the crowd that attended this live Zoom. And I'll let you hear those, and I believe they will provide even further insights into the franchise type system we teach. I have to say, if you really want to achieve the lifestyle and income this business model can offer you, network marketing, it is still available today. I mean, I understand Dale Calvert's not the issue. I'm not the issue. I just understood early in my career that network marketing is a leadership development business. And if you really sincerely give people, and this is an important word, the sequential mindset and skill set development programs and build people, people will build the business. I mean, I'm not the issue, but the franchise that teaches the systems is the issue. Systems duplicate, personality doesn't. And you've just heard a whole wide assortment of people from all types of backgrounds, all walks of life, from all over the world that just plugged in, bought in, and went to work. And the truth is they're willing, they're always willing. They were always willing to plug in wherever they were. Some were willing to plug in and buy in 5, 10, 15 years ago, as many of you listening probably are. Many of you are probably working really hard right now, wherever you're at, with whatever company you're with. And here's the rub. And what I'm going to share with you is just truth. And you can take it as truth or some kind of recruiting pitch. But first, ask yourself, do you think we really need you to join us? What do you really think that we need you to join us? Is this really a recruiting pitch? I mean, do we really need you guys? Whoever's listening. I mean, over the past 12 months, we've helped more people go from 0 to 6 figures than any team on the planet of network marketing in the world. So who needs who? And I'm not trying to be uppity with that. I'm just trying to be real. There are many of you who are plugged in and working hard with companies that you're with right now. And here's something that most don't understand. Not all network marketing opportunities are created equal. Wealth is created when you are with the right team and the right opportunity at the right time in history. So again, I will ask you, what if there was a proven, predictable path to network marketing success that would lead you to a full-time income, a system that's been proven for 35 years and created more documented 5, 6, and 7-figure earners than any system in the history of network marketing? And the best part is the system could be implemented by anybody, average people with above average desire. Would you follow it? You've just heard a few of the dozens and dozens of people on our team who made the pivot, and their success and the results speak for themselves. So the next question is, if you would follow the system, would you follow the system if it required pivoting to another company? And that's where most people get all emotional. Their emotions take over. They lose all logic. They lose all business sense, because they get all upset thinking about leaving their social club that they call a business and the friendships that they developed. Here's what every person you just heard will tell you. Their true friends that were with them in their other companies are still with them. And there's an entirely different level of friendship is developed when you work with authentic people who become what I call foxhole buddies, foxhole friendships. And that's the key. When everyone is progressing forward, duplicating and making money, not just the leader, but everybody is moving forward because leaders are being developed. When you know you're on the right path to replace your current income, go full time, eventually create $250,000 a year income, down the road, financial independence and even legacy wealth if you choose. When you really understand that that's possible, real leaders pivot. Real leaders pivot. Entrepreneurs hang out in the social club. So let's get back to the questions and answers section of this Zoom, and I think you'll find these comments very insightful.
Go, Tony.
All I can say is, wow, guys. I mean, me personally, I feel like I've been a student for Dale most of my entire life, and what I seen tonight from each one of you guys speaking, I mean, it's humbling to me because honest to gosh, guys, this team right here and what you guys have got and what's been created is probably one of the strongest teams that I have ever seen. Some of the strongest people, the bond that you got, the unity, the duplication you're sharing. I mean, it's spot on, man. I mean, it's spot on. And just watching everybody do this call tonight, it's like, oh my gosh, man. Yes, your time is now. Our time is now. I mean, my gosh, Dale's going to retire after this. Y'all have messed up now. You messed up. I mean, that was a great, great call. I just wanted to thank all of you guys. Awesome. Great job.
Well, and Tony could have totally been one of the speakers. He's interchangeable with any one of us. I mean, he's got the wisdom and the history with Dale that basically bar none. So it's just he's an extraordinary asset also to have on the team. Jan.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here tonight. I just wanted to say a few things. I have a saying, and the saying is gratitude is everything. And I am grateful. My husband and I are grateful. We are grateful that we found you. We are grateful that we found Dale. We thank Kent for the effort that he made in finding us after meeting us 25, 30 years ago, Kent, right? In another company that my husband and I were doing meetings for. Kent was in the audience and he reached out to us, and he has no idea how grateful that we are. We are also really grateful for the leadership, for everything that everyone that has touched us, every question that I've asked, just as you've been saying. Philip, absolutely a patient person. Alan, he knows how to answer your question quite easily. Everyone is so fantastic. As I said, gratitude is everything, and we're really grateful for all of you.
Awesome, John. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Cindy.
Hi. There's so much that's going through my mind right now. Few lessons. We can always do more. Right now, I'm kind of in a transition of doing more because I found out what I am doing isn't giving me the results I want. So I'm doing even more. I'm pumping it up again because we have to. And all you have to do is focus on your reasons. Picture that beach, picture this, picture that. and it drives you. It really does. I also love that everyone brought the same thing, but from a personal standpoint here tonight. I mean, everyone had a little different point of view, but everyone pretty much said the same thing. And that's what this team is all about. It's like Shelley said, it's very simple. The simple versus easy. it's easy to understand why everyone is going down this path so strong. Because look at the structure, look at the foundation, look at the whole big picture. What Dale and Dawn have done for us here, day to day to day to day, day in and day out. I mean, they put in longer hours, I'm sure, than any of us do. And look at the results. I mean, when Dale says all the time, true leaders develop other leaders. I mean, look at this tonight. This was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I get so much out of this. And every time I listen to a different person, I get a little different point of view that I can relate to, because we can all kind of relate to what each other is going through because we're all going through it together. And it's kind of like the fun part of it, but then there's the serious part and the part that keeps you moving up that mountain. And I remember a training Dale did almost 30 years ago, probably. I want that mountain. And I was going through some things today, and I was trying to find that. I know I have that training somewhere, but the podcast that dropped yesterday, that brought back the memories from when I first started getting bombarded by all these attraction marketing people, and it wasn't real to me. People weren't being themselves. They weren't being truthful. A lot of people were so focused on branding themselves and becoming something that they weren't really. And I always like being me. It's so much easier than trying to be somebody else. And that's what it seemed like a lot of people were doing during that. But this, I'll tell you, it's such a great feeling that we're all kind of in this place we can call home.
Awesome, Cindy. Glad you're here with us.
Thank you. Happy to be.
And now go ahead.
It's a pleasure being here with you guys tonight. I'm a newbie to the group. I signed up maybe about 5-6 weeks ago. And the one thing that has been interesting for me, I've been in the network industry since 1973. And so I've been around for quite a while. And when I joined a company, I just go full board and sign people up. What I've loved about Dale's teaching is that I have taken the time to actually get in and learn. I've never done this before. I never had this type of training before where he actually teaches me how to think differently about this industry that we love called network marketing. The fact that he has changed my mindset to a franchise type approach has been quite an eye-opener. And unlike my past experiences where I would get kind of frantic that I haven't signed anybody up that week, this has been totally different. I am so relaxed and confident because I know that once I put all those pieces together, then there'll be no stopping me. And so it really is kind of interesting. And, we've heard those comments all night about being consistent. And I love one of the statements from Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn says, the things that make us successful are easy to do. They're also easy not to do. And I'm a real big fan of Jim Rohn. I'm glad that Dale brings Jim into the equation. But I just love the fact that I know that each day when I put a new piece of the puzzle together, once that picture becomes crystal clear, there'll be no stopping me, And so I am really thrilled. I'm really excited, and I'm really so delighted and grateful to be part of this amazing group of professionals who really know what they're doing, because we have a mentor who knows what he's doing. And, there are so many people, and I'll close with this. There's so many people who have made 6 figures in this industry, but they don't know how to teach people to become 6-figure income earners. And that's the one thing that I didn't have in my repertoire. I would do all the work. I would make the connections. I'd jump on the phone. I'd talk to strangers. I'd do those things consistently. But I didn't know how to teach people to become a leader. And so for that, I'm so delighted to be part of this amazing group. So thanks for this opportunity to share.
Awesome. Now, glad you're with us. Yeah, it gets easier because once you get a little success, once you just get a little taste of success, it gets easier. I mean, it really does. I mean, when they're like, oh, it's rough all the way through, it's not as rough when you're making money. It's just not. It's like you can laugh at stupid people a lot easier when you're making money. And you can, you need to do that before you're making money too. But it's like, the idea that I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's not funner, because it is funner when you're making money. So it's just, and it takes what it takes to get there. But to know that the systems that you're using have been used by others with similar skill sets that you have, garden variety, put their pants on in the morning, one leg at a time, just like you. People like you are using these same systems and winning. There's nothing involved in this that is personality driven. I don't even talk to people usually until they're completely qualified and they're asking me to join. So how could it be personality driven? They don't know my personality from anything. They evaluated the information for themselves. And then they got on a phone call with me. I didn't talk them into anything. And in fact, I'm trying to talk them out of it because they're going to take so much of my time if they join. So, and if they insist, then we let them go. Here's a great guy right here who insisted on joining. So, hey, Ryan, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Alan? So my network marketing journey really started when I was 20, similar to Dale, but we've had different outcomes, much different outcomes. And so this year has been more of reestablishing myself in the industry and learning, growing, developing. And, I've been approached many times by these attraction marketing people. And I'll be honest, there's been some nuggets I thought were, okay, that's interesting. But the one thing I can never really understand is what is so spammy about sharing information about an opportunity with another network marketer. I don't get that mindset. I don't understand why there's this whole idea that you're doing something wrong. We're sharing information. That's all we're doing. We're sharing information. If you see this information is going to benefit you, or you want more information, it's their decision anyway. It doesn't. None of that stuff makes any sense at all. And it's I just, why they keep on saying, oh, it's spammy and rude. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I just see it's just, hey, I'm just a fellow network marketer that's sharing information with another fellow network marketer. That's it. Plain, it's simple. It's not rocket science. Everybody in the industry wants to build a team in a customer base. Okay, that's a given. Okay, and I get a lot of direct outreaches, and I take time to look at everything, most everything. I tell them, no, I'm not interested. And I'm glad we have. Dale, he's a great leader, and I'm still working on myself, mindset, being consistent. And I hear some of the rest of the team that have been sending out over 1,000 direct outreaches a day. So I'm still learning on how to keep track of who I'm sending outreaches to, and come up with a follow-up system, or do I follow up every few days, or just let them come back to me and then take it from there. So I'm still learning the ropes here. So and that's pretty much what I want to say. And any feedback of if there's a concrete follow-up system or tracking of who you're sending messages to, Any bit of information help, I would appreciate that.
Brian, none of us send 1,000 outreaches in a day. It's a week.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't mean a day.
Okay. That's a lot.
I've been up since 5 and I'm really exhausted. So
Got it.
So Shelley, if you can tell him what you do as far as following up and stuff.
So when I do my outreaches, unless somebody responds to me, I leave them. Unless they open, like on LinkedIn, it'll say the person has accepted your message. If I see that, then I will go in and I will say, thank you for accepting my message. Did you watch the video?
Okay.
Otherwise, you leave them alone. There's no reason to chase them. Sometimes, I had one today. I sent a message to in May, and they just responded today. So you'll get some months later, but there's no reason to chase them if they haven't reacted to you in any way whatsoever. And the next question is always, did you watch the video?
Right.
And then go from there. But, here's another thing, you guys. You can go into the Facebook group and search your question, and things will come up that other people have posted and asked their questions about. And you can see the general answer and just tweak it a little bit. That's a really easy thing to do.
Yeah, do that first. Okay, guys, do that first. And for those of you who are doing outreach, especially for those of you who are in the boot camp, it's like, search your term. Because guess what? We look magical. All we're doing is going in and searching the term, and then we're copying it. It's like, and adapting it to that particular circumstance. Guys, I have about 2 minutes before I have a hard stop. But we'll go as Philip.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment about what Brian said about the spammy people. And I think we've all been culprits, and I've been a culprit and guilty of doing this more often than I should, is writing someone off sooner than you should. If they say like, oh, you're spamming me, and then you're like, oh, okay, you're disqualified. Next. Hold on. If you stay value focused, like Shelley said, who am I going to help today? And many of us have stories, and Dell has so many stories on how their first response is, you're spamming me, not interested, whatever. But if you're staying value focused, and what can you say to them? And you can help, again, asking the Facebook group, what to say next, of us turning that person around from being not interested or thinking or were trapped in the attraction marketing lie. And now they're here, like completely different. So I say it because I'm guilty. Other people might be guilty too. Be value focused and help them.
All right, Viola.
Hey, I make it real quick. I'm on the road and I might be a bit noisy. I just want to say how much I appreciate Dale's leadership, having you guys coming with so many inspiring stories and real stories. And me, myself, will have one comment for those people who are still not 100% sold about Dale's system, culture, everything. Just hang in there. Watch what others are saying. Watch this video again and again and feel the emotion. Get the gems and get into a forever growing mode. That would probably serve you really well for life. I mean, I agree with Kurt's comment. If you are newbie here, you consider yourself lucky. I have been looking for an answer 15 years before I bumped into Dale's podcast, and the rest is history. Thank you.
Can't wait to see you in South Dakota, Viola. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Hope you all have a wonderful night. Go back and watch this again. Definitely go on and watch the podcast from this week. Listen to the podcast. And what do? We leave comments, right? We leave comments every time we go in. All right, everybody have a great night.
Thank you, Alan. You did amazing.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you so much.
Good job,
Thank you,
Alan.
Alan.
everybody.
Great
Good night,
job,
everybody.
everybody.
Go Team CG.
Good job, Alan.
Thank
See you next week.
Okay,
Good job,
bye-bye.
everybody.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you got value from this session. Let me ask you one more time. What if there was a proven, predictable path to network marketing success that would lead you to a full-time income? A system that's been proven for 35 years and created more documented 5, 6, and 7-figure earners than any system in the history of network marketing. And the best part is that the system can be implemented by you, any average person with above average desire, and even above average people if they'll be teachable. Would you follow it? If you're sick and tired of the MLM hamster wheel and you are the type of person we're looking for, respond right now or we both lose. We both lose. And if you're the type of person we're looking for, you know it. Please get back with the person that shared this session with you and tell them, hey, I want to learn more about the most unique product and company in the history of network marketing, Select Direct. Or if you randomly found this podcast, you can visit www.themlmbox.com, www.themlmbox.com. My name is Dale Calvert. Thank you for listening. Have a great week, and don't procrastinate. Contact the person that shared this session with you right now, and I'll be back with you next week on another session of the New Era of Wealth Building podcast.
Did you enjoy this story? Then you will probably enjoy some of the other sessions of this podcast. You can visit MLMsuccess.com and see a full playlist of the podcast since the day we started. Would you like to put some faces with the voices? Then search for Dale Calvert MLM Success Podcast on YouTube and follow us there. Please leave a comment on YouTube and let our special guests know how their story inspired you or affected you. Dale spends most of his social media time in private groups he has founded, but you can follow his public Facebook page at facebook.com/Dale Calvert page. And of course, your comments and feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you access this podcast is always appreciated. Thanks for listening, and we will be back next week and share with you another real success story that is happening right now in this new era of wealth creation that most still don't know exist. Yet.